mean? This is all prime beef. They stink because they eat like pigs, and they vomit all over themselves.
Long voyage?
95 days in the Ivory Coast.
Would you ever take them up on deck for a little fresh air?
With all the frigates nosing around these waters like hungry dogs. Times have changed, Mr. Sims, now that our damn Yankee government considers this cargo contraband. They catch me with even one nigger on board. It's up the rope I go, and I wouldn't be the first.
They're bound to rot away down there in that cesspool.
Not on your life. Board my ship, hygiene's the rule. That means a clean ship, clean cargo. When one of them gets took bad, I don't wait till he plagues the others. No, sir. It's into the briny with them then and there. Captain Wicks delivers the goods in perfect condition. Anyone can tell you that.
How many head you got?
326, including the winch. This batch is all staggered. No syphilis, and they've all busting with seed. But look how rested they are. I travels with comfort. Each one got a space 6 foot by 2 foot. Now they can even turn around. Real stallions. Every night they so hot for pleasure, and they all humping each other like a pack of dogs. And chains don't stop no how. In here's the winches. All of them got pups, and near all is pregnant again.
How many?
112. You go $300 each?
You tetched, Captain? You know I don't buy by the head, I buy by the pound.
All right. Say $200.
By the pound, I said. Hey, what are you doing, drowning them?
I told you. Rule number 1, hygiene. 3 showers a day. Salt water kills their fleas and lice.
And you wring them and hang them out to dry, I reckon. God almighty, what a pest hole. That's diarrhea. Just busting with help, ain't they, you old pirate?
It happens now and then. But we know how to cure it.
The usual cure?
It's the oldest and the surest. Sugarcane plug, oakum, and tar. And bam, ram it in hard. Keeps the bowels locked up tight and the soul from escaping from the back door.
How come he don't blow up?
Cork will pop out first, just like a bottle of champagne.
Hey, what's that slop?
Well, that's molasses and beef grease. Diggers goes crazy for them. Have to truss them and feed them a little at a time, otherwise they choke themselves on it.
Looking at him, you wouldn't think so.
That one, he's taken it to his head to starve himself to death. A real pitiful case. Hey, Doc, chisel, hammer, and funnel. Go ahead and serve dinner. Let's say $150 a head.
You just break your wind again. By the pound.
All right, Shalom. We want to first start off giving our praises, honor, and glory to Yahawaah, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kodash. We would like to say double honors to the apostles and the elders of Greatmillstone, the men that taught us this truth through the spirit and power of Yahawaah, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi. And also peace and blessings to the elect out there that are scattered throughout the 4 corners of the world, of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who are the Israelites according to the Bible. Today we was going to get into some of the curses. The video you just seen, or a clip, a snippet that you actually just seen, was from a movie called Goodbye Uncle Tom. And just to give you a visual, you know, of what was going on back when we were being transported through the Atlantic, you know, on slave ships, as prophesied in the Bible, in the Holy Bible.
Right.
And to pull you into the lesson, Lord will, so that when we read these scriptures, you know, you can open up your imageries or images in your mind as you read the scriptures, you know.
Right. Because that's how our people,
go ahead.
you know, our people think in pictures, man. You know?
Right, because when you read the scriptures, you're supposed to put images to this.
Right.
And put it in motion, you know? Meaning like play out the
movie
scene,
in your mind, right?
You know, the movie or scene in your mind of what's going on when you read these scriptures. What's taking place as I read these scriptures. You gotta put yourself inside the scriptures, for lack of a better word.
Right.
So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into some of these curses pretty much is going to be line upon line in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. You know the verses.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 66. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of thy life.
Right. And you can go into many aspects on that, but we focusing on when Jake was in hardcore slavery. In particular, in this video that you've seen, that would be the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi that was on those cargo slave ships. Even though the other tribes, they did go into slavery by way of ship too. The so-called Native American Indians and the so-called Latino tribes. You know, they also went into into slavery by ships too.
Right.
You know. So could you read that again?
This is Deuteronomy 28 and 66. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee.
Right. Now, in this particular time when we were our foreparents were on the cargo slave ships, their life hung in doubt, meaning they didn't know if they was gonna live or die, and majority of the time they wanted to die.
Yeah.
You know, versus going through such hardcore bondage or conditions. Yeah, I should say that hardcore, terrible, nasty, disgusting, painful conditions.
Right.
On those boats. You know, and when we got off the boat.
Right.
And then Esau was killing us, torturing us, bullying us,
raping our women,
demeaning us. Yeah, raping you so-called black women that love this society and love this setup, you know. And go ahead, I read on.
And thou shalt fear day and night.
Right, and if you seen the fear, you seen the lack of wanting to live.
Yeah. Like
these people had no desire to live. Our foreparents, you know, day and night. And then they was having babies on them ships too, you know. So go ahead, Ike.
And shalt have none assurance of thy life.
Right. And our foreparents, dealing with the so-called Negroes in particular, and the so-called West Indians and so-called Haitians, you know, just focusing on the Southern Kingdom for a minute, you know, not trying to exclude the rest of Israel, but just, you know, going into part of the nation, going through these curses. And this verse in particular, you know, they had no assurance of if they was gonna live or they was gonna die.
Right.
You know? You got it, Doc. Keep going.
Verse 67. In the morning thou shalt say, would God it were even.
So basically, they were saying, praying to the Most High, hurry up and bring the night or the evening. You know, because they wanted to get the day over with. You know? Go ahead.
And at even thou shalt say, with God it were morning.
But things was just so terrible, and so the condition was so horrifying, you know, that when night fell, they were like, they was ready for the morning to be here.
Yeah.
Just trying to escape, but it was no escape.
Right.
Trying to escape the mentally, you know, can escape the conditions that they was undergoing, but it wasn't no escape. Like, please, God, just let the evening come.
Then they get there.
Like, damn, please, God, just let the morning come. You know, because how could you get a comfortable night's sleep when packed like sardines on a slave ship? or they all of them wasn't packed like sardines. They had something called loose packing, too. You know, but the conditions were still bad, real bad. You know, we talking about a 3-month trip, and then we just focusing on the hell that our people caught on the slave ships and how they was in fear for their life. They didn't know if they was gonna die that day when they woke up. They didn't know if that was gonna be their last day, and they was in fear of their life, and they had no insurance, nothing to give them assurance that they would keep their life. You know, we ain't even getting to the part where the so-called white man, you know, hauled us off the slave ships, and then we went into picking cotton, picking sugar cane, getting beat, sleeping in barns and outhouses and shit, and wherever the hell, in little tents,
shacks,
you know, eating pig guts, and what you niggas know as chitlins. You know, living in and undergoing horrible conditions, and who fit these prophecies? You know, this little clip, you know, basically give you image, put image to the scriptures.
Right.
You know. You got something, Mark?
Lie.
Okay, go ahead, brother.
In the morning thou shalt say, would God it were even, and at even thou shalt say, would God it were morning.
Right.
For the fear of thine heart wherewith thou shalt fear.
Right, because of all the terrible conditions and problems that they were undergoing on those slave ships and off the slave ships. You okay? Go ahead.
And for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see.
Right, and for the terrible things that they were seeing.
Yep.
You know, they wanted to get the day. Man, I'm ready for the next day. I'm ready for night to get here, and then when night get here, they ready. I'm ready just to wake up. And then when they wake, it's a continued cycle of horror. You know.
Right.
From who? Esau, the so-called white man. Working with the Hamites, the so-called Africans and the Arabs,
right,
to get us on those slave ships, you know, forcefully. And we saw terrible things. You seeing a man you might see a man or a woman get a back beat out, literally. Get his or her back beat out, the flesh ripped out of their back, you know. People jumping overboard, you know, sharks eating up you so-called Negroes, Latino. Well, yeah, you Latinos and Native Americans, but we dealing with the Negroes, you know, and the West Indians and the Haitians right now. Can you imagine seeing people get ate up by sharks? Men and women defecating or shitting on themselves, pissing on themselves. The what is the word? Unsanitary conditions on the slave ship. They're very unclean.
Rats, roaches.
Yeah, rats,
fleas, lice.
All these things because of the filth that was occurring on that 3-month voyage.
Can you imagine having iron shackles on you? How that eat away at your flesh, and then you got sores and shit on you. That shit is getting infected because it's open wounds, and it ain't nothing. It's unsanitary.
Right. Esau was putting corks, wine corks, in the anus of the Israelites. You know, so that they wouldn't shit on themselves.
So they wouldn't lose. I think he said the water in them or something to that effect. But either way, plugging up a man's anus for whatever fucking reason it was for.
Right.
Man, that's wicked, man.
Right.
That's wicked. What would make you even... But, like the scriptures say, his tender mercies are cruel, man.
Right. You got to go back. I forget exactly the reason. It ain't no fucking reasoning behind that. That's some psycho, sick and twisted mind would do some shit like that, you know?
It's a way to treat your slaves, man. Slavery is in the scriptures, but it's a way to treat your slaves, man. Esau go too goddamn far.
Yep, and he gonna pay for this.
That's right.
You know, Esau is gonna pay for, even though we went off and broke the law, statutes, and commandments, and the Most High put Esau over us to slay us and to be cruel to us.
Right.
You know, and to go overboard.
Right.
You know, it ain't like the Most High didn't know that Esau was gonna go overboard.
Right.
You know, his judgment is also written. So the so-called white man will be judged for the atrocities that he committed against the nation of Israel.
Right.
Okay?
That's right.
Go ahead, Al.
Come on. Deuteronomy 28 and 68. And the Lord Yahawah shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen.
Right. Go ahead.
And no man shall buy you.
Right. So, as we know, you know, the brothers in the know and all the other Israelite camps, they know this too, and they bring it out and teach it. That fits the so-called Negroes primarily, but a lot of people don't know about how, like we mentioned earlier, of course the brothers in the know,
right?
But the average person don't know that
the northern tribes,
the northern kingdom, which are the so-called Native American Indians and the so-called Latino tribes or Hispanics, they also went into cargo. They went into slavery by cargo slave ship and were transported over there to Europe.
Yep.
You know, there's history on that. And if you go into that word Egypt, the word Egypt in Deuteronomy 28 and 68 is gonna tell you the word behind it is the Hebrew word Martazayim, okay, or in the English Mizraim. And if you go all the way to the root, you got to keep going back to the root. The very root of the word Martazayim, it basically means bondage or to bind. Okay? So the scripture reads as we know, and the Lord shall bring thee, the Lord is who? Yahawah.
Right.
Shall bring thee into bondage. If you go to the root of that word in the Hebrew, bondage again with ships. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more. Talking about us not seeing our land, Israel, no more. Why? Because we would be carted off into slavery. Right. Well, really going back to 70 AD, you know, and a bulk of Israelites, millions of Israelites fled into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution, you know, into the northern to the western coast of Africa. Okay, and settled there, and that's where them slaves, that's where taken from, you know, the western part of, or the western coast of Africa. Okay, and they say what were they gonna do when we got to the shores of the West Indies, Haiti, in the Americas, you know, South America, North America, dropping off slaves for what? To be sold as bondmen and bondwomen. This is the most horrific slavery that ever took place on any nation of people.
Right.
You know? The scholars call this transatlantic slave trade, and when the so-called Negroes in particular, which also includes the so-called West Indians and the Haitians, that this was the darkest time in history. Out of all history, this was the darkest time in history. And look at the result. Look at the result of a conquered people. The result is what you see in the streets today amongst the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. A bunch of people that don't know who they are, don't want to know who they are, and they caught up in nothing but vanity and wickedness. We talking about the majority of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans.
Yep. Our people are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
Right.
Our people are. You can look at them; they are clearly destroyed, man.
Right, destroyed according to prophecy, but we're in the time of salvation.
Right. The
Most High is finna deliver us.
Right. From
bondage, cause we not in this hardcore bondage as we showed in this snippet on this clip, but we are still, nevertheless, we are still in bondage.
Right.
You know, we contractual slaves, we indentured slaves. You know, so our deliverance is at hand.
That's right.
And the so-called white man, he will pay for what he have done to the nation of Israel.
Right. Along with them other nations. You know.
Come on. Man, I'm going to play a little bit more of this video before we get out of here.
I said the whole cargo at $1 a pound. $2.
Okay, it's all right.
So, I'll regret it, but it's a deal.
All right. With that, we're going to close out. We want to give all praises, honor, and glory once again to YAHAWAH, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Greatmillstone. Peace and blessings to the elect. Shalom.
Shalom.